Hey guys, Mike Semsky here with another real estate investing tip. It was a good Saturday today. I actually took the day off from real estate for the most part and actually went and played paintball, which I have not done for quite a few years. So, it was great. I came out relatively unscathed, although I did get one nice whack right in my neck. So that welt's going to be there for several days and it's probably going to look worse tomorrow. But anyway, I didn't take off from real estate completely because I want to do this video and talk to you a little bit about private money. Now, private money is one of those things that most investors have a difficult time with. And I know when I first started, the thought of me asking someone for money to fund my deals was really, really scary, and I was no good at it. So over time, I've learned to get better, and I've also learned some other really good sources of private money. In addition to what I call your warm list, the people that uh, you know family, friends, people in business people, people that like your doctor, your dentist, professionals that might have money. One of the best private money sources that I use is actually sellers. So these are people that you're talking to every single day, or hopefully every single day. And the reason that sellers are great for private money is one is you're in front of them all the time. So I market to properties that people have owned for say 15 or 20 years or longer. And the reason I want to do that is I want to make sure that they have a good chunk of equity. Now, on one hand, having that good chunk of equity will allow me to purchase their home in one of several different ways. So I can pay cash at a big discount, or I can do say a split fund, half now, half later, or they can oftentimes they'll be willing to finance a transaction, and sometimes without even a down payment. So the fact that they have equity allows you to be really flexible on the ways you can buy the house. Now, the other thing that's nice about when you target homes that have a lot of equity is that there's a good chance that those sellers, if they have say a $200,000 house that they own free and clear, there's a good chance that they've got some money stored away in the bank or CD or some other place that might not be earning a good return. And even if you don't buy the house, let's say they sell the house to somebody else, well, they're going to get close to a couple $100,000 of money that's going to go into that account. And so when you're talking to a seller about buying their property, you always in the back of your mind, you want to be thinking about, maybe this could be a relationship that can be developed so that they can ultimately become a private lender. So just to kind of give you an example, several years ago, I bought a house from an absentee owner, a seller that had this rental property, and the seller was willing to finance the transaction. So I was making payments to the seller on a regular basis every single month. Well, what that allowed me to do was to start developing a relationship with the seller. In fact, some of the times I would actually hand deliver the payment to them so that I'd have a chance, for 5 minutes to kind of have a conversation. And after a while, when the seller's getting used to getting payments, the topic of private money came up. And this particular seller had money that was sitting in a bank that wasn't earning very good interest, and knew from our conversations prior that when I buy real estate, I use private investor money. And long story short, they end up lending me probably about $110,000 to do a deal. And since then, they've lent on 4 or 5 other deals, and they have become one of my better private lenders. So, that taught me something. So whenever I go and talk to a seller about buying a house, I'm always kind of considering in the back of my mind the possibility of that seller being a private lender. So in fact, there are times when I'll actually go out onto an appointment to see a property, even if I don't think there's any chance I'm going to be able to buy the house, so that I might be able to start that relationship. And one of the ways that I kind of drop the hint to the seller is when I make a cash offer. The seller, when they're getting a cash offer from me, it's definitely going to be low. It might be 60, 65 cents on the dollar. And if the seller doesn't accept it, sometimes what I can do is I can talk and say, well, I'd like to be able to pay you more, but when I buy properties cash, I use private lender money. So I have someone kind of like you who might have money in the stock market or CD or something that's not getting the return that you want, and they lend money to me, and I buy my real estate with it. And I always want to make sure that there's a nice big equity buffer to protect my lender, to make sure it's a good investment for both of us. And so I'll say that to the seller, and it's kind of in a way to kind of defend my offer, but in another way, it's also dropping the hint about the fact that I do borrow private money and I do pay people, and I always want to make sure that that investment is safe for them, so that in the future, if I follow up with the seller and maybe they've sold the house, I might be able to kind of have that conversation and say, oh yeah, hey, we talked before when I went and saw your property, and congratulations for selling. This isn't for everyone, but I thought, hey, maybe something you might be interested in, and kind of go into a private money speech. So that's something that I would recommend. So anytime you're talking with a seller, or go visit a seller that has like a free and clear house or has a lot of equity, always be thinking about the possibility of that seller turning into a private lender. So anyway, hope that's a great tip for you guys. If you have had any experience getting private money from sellers, I definitely want you to share that experience in the comments below, or if you have any other questions for me, do that. And hopefully you can get some good private money from this. All right, take care, guys.